Press Start Podcast.
And welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. I'm your host Vic, aka Mr. Never Chill, and this is episode number 105. And this week I welcome back my co-host Scooby One.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
Welcome back, Scott. No Roger this week due to he got some in-laws in town, so you know how that goes. Got to go hang out with them, of course. But how you been, man? How's the week been?
Week's been great, man. Been playing some Baldur's Gate, a few other games here and there. But other than that, just a normal, average, run-of-the-mill weekend. How about you?
Yeah, man, it was pretty good. We have family in from England and also Arkansas, so we've been trying to balance the time of hanging out with them, work, and then also going to the hospital to see my daughter
Oh
still. So
man,
so it's been a crazy week. I mean, as you can see here, my list is
everyone.
actually kind of little this week compared to normal. I mean, I was only streaming one game, so we can talk about that actually right now. Mass Effect 3 was my game that I have been streaming, and I officially beat it last night. And I'm disappointed in myself that I missed out on this game for such a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how you feeling? I saw that beat and I was pretty curious to see how you felt about the end of that game and how it kind of if it lived up to your expectations or if it didn't.
Oh boy, I gave this game a 10 out of 10. It is my second one this year.
Damn.
This game was phenomenal. I think this game, I mean, this is probably a controversial opinion, but I think this is arguably the best one out of the trilogy. I know a lot of people think Mass Effect 2 was the best one, but Mass Effect 3, man, like even the small stories I felt really tied to, like emotionally, and I was just like, fuck, man, like everything I was doing in the game just felt me, like it felt heavy, like emotionally, and I was just like, man, this game is
Mhm.
fucking dope. And everything that went on in the game just made me wanted to keep playing it. Like the past couple streams, I was streaming for like 3 hours almost at a time, and I haven't been doing long streams like that. And this game just had me hooked.
Just
But
had you rolling, yeah.
yeah, had me rolling, man. But
At
the
10:47 p.m.
Mr. Never Chillin' is live. But no, seriously, but the ending though, I can see why it was very like what the fuck. Very controversial ending, and I actually like I understood like you had a choice at the end, and I come to find out there was three choices that could have been made at the end, and I didn't I could like at the end it didn't really kind of tell you which one was which. You kind of just like walk to it, and then that was your ending. And because like you're hurt, so you're limping, so it's like you walk forward and you have to go either straight, left, or right. Which actually I didn't know straight was an option. I thought it was either left or right. I did research after it, trying to figure out what was the difference between the endings, and I chose left, which is you take control of the Reapers, and like you sacrifice Commander Shepard for it. Spoiler alert, I guess. I mean, it's a long time since
Damn,
the
put
game's
that
been
shit
out.
on the show.
Don't really care at this point. Game's been out, but yeah, I took control of it, of the Reapers and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, like it made sense that the option that I chose was an option. Like I like how it was like there was a choice for sure, but like, what is the canonical answer then? Like with further games, like I haven't played Andromeda yet, which I know takes place in I guess in a different galaxy, but the next Mass Effect, Mass Effect 4, like how did like what choice is going to be the legitimate choice that happens that follows then in the future games? That's the
Well, I
biggest
guess
concern.
we'll I guess we'll find that out when you stream Mass Effect 4,
Yeah, whenever that drops.
whenever that comes out.
Right. I mean, I'll probably play through and stream Andromeda just to drive myself and drag myself through the mud through that one because I know I heard that that one was a pretty shitty game
Yeah.
altogether. But hopefully it's not as bad as what people were saying. But nonetheless, man, that was my highlight of the week when it comes to gaming. I know your highlight of the week has to be Baldur's Gate 3. Has it been living up to expectations still? Like, how's that playthrough going?
It's still been living up. It's still been great. I've been getting a lot of questions about what I did with Gale, um, throughout the week, and they started last week as well. But the truth be told, my origin story is Dark Urge, and I killed Gale before I even got a chance to meet him. When he put his hand through the waypoint, and my narrator was like, "You feel an urge," like then he just started going about the hand and like wanting to like eat it off and like rip it off and all that good stuff. And it was like, "Oh, dream about the urge," and I dreamt about the urge. Next thing I know, I have Gale's hand in my inventory. Uh, and I never got to meet Gale. So I just wanted to go ahead and clear the air about that. I never got Gale, but even then. I have been having a fantastic time with this game. I'm about, I want to say, three-quarters of the way through Act 2, and just having an absolute blast. Just, once again, some of the choices you can make, some of the choices you cannot make. It just, it's been stellar. It really has been.
Yeah, that's definitely dope to hear. So like the with the side content or side missions that go on in Baldur's Gate, is it like meaningful side content? Like it has you wanting to do the side content, or is it kind of just like a checklist kind of content? Like tell me about the side quests and stuff.
So it's a lot of it is like, yeah, you can do it because it came up. Other stuff you really stumble upon, and it it's not a lot of it had to me has been adding like meaning to the story. But a lot of it has been adding just some really fun like area content. So I'm in the Underdark right now. For anybody who knows what that is, that's one of the two places you can get to the Moonrise Tower. And just the other day, I had killed the Spectator, which is just kind of like an underground mini boss that you really stumble upon. There's it's there as far as I've seen, there hasn't been a quest to go kill the Spectator. I've been doing all the quests with like the Myconids and all that good stuff, but there's been nothing for the Spectator so far. And when I stumbled upon that, I shit my pants a little bit. Let's be honest. But at the same time, like it was just a really cool like side boss that you could fight. You had a little bit of story there that went with it if you talked to anybody that was unpetrified. And it was super fun. It leads you eventually to the Great Forge quest. But other than that, there wasn't anything that took me there really. Everything's just been kind of just kind of environmental. Like when you're in Act 1, there's also the tea house, which leads you to Auntie Ethel, which was also just kind of a side quest that you can stumble into. Nothing takes you there. But the game is full of that stuff. The game is full of those things where you can just beeline it for the main quest. You do have to go through some things like that, but there's also if you're just searching around and you're just exploring, you do run into those side quests that really give you a lot more like breadth of experience in the game itself and like the world that Larian has built with this game.
Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. See, like it almost sounds like the side content is legitimately like side content in Baldur's Gate, so it's not like Mass Effect, for instance. Like I was actually getting lost in some of the side content, side missions in Mass Effect that I couldn't even tell the difference between side content and main missions, and I was just like, where am I at? Like, what am I supposed to be working on again? Because I was like getting so lost in the side content that it felt like fucking main mission shit, and I've come to find out I was completing a lot of side quests, and I was just like,
Oh yeah.
oops.
Yeah, it's very like you have your quests pinpointed out um and they are like, main quest, area quest, region quest, and then you have like your companion quests. So depending on who you're with, and then like you just have like your area quests that are part of it, but like it's also fluid that it just flows so nicely where you can be doing a main quest, stumble upon an area quest, side quest, and it's right there. It's nothing that takes you so far out of the main quest and the feeling of the main quest where you're like, oh, this is very clearly a side quest, but you're like, oh, this is like definitely something like maybe I should be doing or maybe not. I don't know, like, but it's still very like as far as the environment, it's right for the environment. It's right for like what I'm doing over here. Very very fun. It's not so like you don't feel like you're doing like this is a side quest very like straight up until you really like get into it and you're like, okay, so this is not along with the main quest. So this is kind of a little piece where the main quest and the environment kind of intercede a little bit. So it's been pretty nice to play that way actually.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's dope to hear. I think I'll eventually give Baldur's Gate a try since whenever it does come to Xbox, which we'll talk about later on in the show here. But moving on to another game here on my list, we played a couple rounds of Valorant this week, and I don't know what it was, but I was playing fucking dog water this week in Valorant. I was like, I cannot figure this shit out. Um, but I mean, we won a couple, we lost a couple, didn't really go up or down in rank wise just because of that. But you know, is what it is. Looking forward to playing a couple games this week as well. But your competitive shooter, I should say. Warzone looks like you hopped into there. Any dubs or any good moments?
Once again, no dubs. Always so close, never close enough. I think the highest I got this week was like a 3. And I got 3 a couple times and 4 a couple times. Just getting in, playing for a little bit, and then just hopping back out, going into something else that really like kind of tickled my fancy. Warzone's kind of fallen off for me. When it comes down to it, I know you've been staying away from it
Very
actively.
much, yeah, very much so.
Um,
And it feels bad. Like I miss playing Call of Duty, but it's just like it's not fun anymore, and like they're just not putting any effort into making the game better in any
yeah,
sense.
and at this point, it's like I'll hop in a few games during the week just to be like, does this still suck? Yep, still sucks.
Still
And then I'll
sucks.
just well, it's like when they came out with like like a Coke that nobody liked, like oh here's Coke raspberry and fucking gym sock. That's a flavor. And you just taste it again just to see if it still sucks. And you're like, yeah,
It's still
yeah, it's
terrible.
still not good. It's still not good. Like that's it.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah.
that's kind of how I've been running with that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that
I have
Modern
to
Warfare
try and see
3
what's up.
is what we're looking for, the change of pace, the change of content and stuff. I mean, but I'm not really getting my hopes up. I am still looking forward to X Defiant though, which is coming out, which is right around the corner. They gave an update where they're just waiting on like the approval from all of the basically the Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, like who, like the I forget the word for it, but they have to approve the game to be able to come onto their platform and stuff like that. So once they get through that approving process, I think the release for X Defiant is imminent. So I might have my first person shooter arcade fix here soon. I can't wait because I'm
Good
dying
deal.
to have one again. It's
Yeah.
definitely been a while.
And I wish Roger was here because I already know that he would have Armored Core on that list.
Right.
And I've been seeing a lot of gameplay, but I haven't played it myself yet, and I'm just curious to see how he feels about Armored Core.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
far
said
it's
that.
been
Yeah,
looking.
definitely said that he wasn't able to join us this week because I was looking forward to having that conversation with him as well. But
Yeah, I was definitely looking forward to the Armored Core conversation. I've heard a lot of great things,
that's good because
and I'm willing to see. I want to see how he feels about it.
yeah, for sure. Um, game that we played together last Sunday after the podcast, Exo Primal. That's our first-person shooter fix right now, but it's only like once a week. I don't know if we're gonna be playing tonight, but we'll see. But it's still enjoyable when we play together. But it's not a game that I'm gonna be like, yeah, I can't wait to go home and play. Like it's just it doesn't have that sense of urgency that I want to play it no matter what. Not like how Mass Effect 3 had me going. I'll be at work and I'm like, shit, man, like what's next in the story? Like, man, I just killed that person by accident. Like,
What
fuck.
do I have to do
Yeah.
next?
But yeah, man, outside Exo Primal looks like you were playing some Pokemon Go. I know obviously that's just like intermittent like, oh yeah, let me spin the Pokestop or whatever.
So I didn't play any yesterday. Yesterday was a very much an at-home day. Did a lot of housework. And then today a little bit while I was heading to my fantasy draft I played, which sucked for me because I forgot that it was definitely like Pokemon Go. It was Go Fest.
Mm.
So one weekend a year, right around the end of August, they do Go Fest. So they have like a bunch of different random like quests, um, a bunch of different like I want to say environmental, but not entirely environmental. Things like your lures last twice as long. You
Mhm.
get like better perks for just different shit that they say you get better perks for. Um, so
And I see there was
definitely
like
riding.
special edition Pikachu's with different like
Yep,
crowns
and
and tiaras and stuff.
I caught my special edition Snorlax today,
Okay.
this morning. Yeah, so they always have like special edition Pokemon that come out during those times. And just watching, you can see on the map where everyone else is playing,
Mhm.
and you could see that like so there's a park near me that has like probably like 10 to 15 Pokestops on it.
Hmm.
Every single one of them was lured, like, and you look into the park like as we were passing it, and you could see like all the people walking around, everything like that. So that was a cool thing to see that like a lot of people are still playing it like that adamantly.
Hmm.
But as of today, like I really only I once again I did my Pokestop, I did my catch, I caught a couple of Pokemon that I wanted to make sure that I had candies for so I can evolve eventually. But that was really it for today. I was playing throughout the week. I always play on the way to the gym or on the way back, or like I'll be sitting in the gym in between sets and like getting rid of transferring some Pokemon, making sure I get candies, like evolving some of my Pokemon, like things like that. So, but that was really it for the week.
Okay. Yeah, my kill the time game this week was Madden. I'll just hop in and all I do is play Ultimate Team in Madden. Like I said last week, I don't play in a competitive scene with Madden at all, and just running through the different challenges that they keep adding and stuff like that. And it was funny because I'm playing and Lauren's like, "Why are you playing for that team? You don't like that team." Like I know I don't like that team, but I'm doing the challenges that put you in a game time scenario of there's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter in this game. This player did this. You got to do that again. Like okay, cool. That's what I got to do. So that I mean it's been fun playing through that, killing some time, running through all the challenges and whatnot. So I mean I'll probably play that for like a month and then drop it like I usually do every year. That's why I hate buying Madden. Like I probably have like every Madden behind me, but buy it for like a month, play it, and then drop it. So that's always where it sucks there. Even you can't get Washington in the playoffs. Yeah, I know I can't get Washington in the playoffs. Even if I tried in Madden, they would screw me over. I was literally playing in one of the challenges. It was we're at Washington versus the Eagles from last year, like when we Washington broke their perfect season, ended their perfect season last year, and it was just like the Eagles are just running all over me, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like Washington, you're playing just like you do in real life. What the hell are you doing? But we won this game. So yeah, I eventually got through that challenge and won it, but I was like, what the fuck? I had to restart the challenge like 3 or 4 times just to eventually get it down and win it. But there's that, man. So we had a pretty short list. We only had 4 games each this week, so pretty short list here. But let's move on to the upcoming game releases. All right, Scott. So it's you this week that's going to be talking about them. It's not a long list here. A couple good ones though.
Yeah, not a terribly long list, but starting the list off is going to be Goodbye Volcano High. That's going to be coming out for the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC on August 29th. Uh, this is more of a cinematic kind of storytelling game where you are playing in a band in high school. It has a bunch of your high school drama. Some of the things in there are dramas going in. So it looks to be just an overall pretty fun game. Coming out of that, also on August 29th, we have Samba de Amigo Party Central. That's going to be coming out for the Switch, which is a sequel, actually, of the original Samba de Amigo. And then after that, coming out on also August 29th, we have Sea of Stars. That's going to be for the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. After that, we have Under the Waves coming out for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC also on August 29th. And then after the August 29th, we have Somerville coming out on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 on August 31st. And then to round out our week, we have Trin 5, A Clockwork Conspiracy. It's a puzzle platformer coming out on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on August 31st.
Yeah, that's definitely a short list that we got this week. But out of those, which one are you most excited for, or would give a try if you had to?
Honestly, out of looking at these, Sea of Stars actually looks really fun.
Hmm.
As far as your little RPG sort of deal goes, this is definitely like a 2D RPG. It's not a 2.5D RPG. Looks fun. Gives me some definitely like Link to the Past meets like Legacy of Goku vibes. It definitely looks like it could be a fun one. Uh, And I mean, looks pretty fun. That's really gonna have to be it for me this week if I'm not playing Baldur's Gate or anything else.
Right. Yeah, and this one was a Kickstarter funded game too. So it's definitely come a long way, and it definitely has like a retro kind of feel to it. I feel like Marshmallow King, if he's still in here, would be excited for this game. This would be a game
He
that he
said
would definitely pick up.
he's already got Sea of
Already
Stars
got it
pre-installed.
pre-installed.
Yep.
I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So that looks pretty good. The other game, the game that I'm really looking forward to is Under the Waves. I'm playing the trailer here. This one seems pretty cool. It seems like almost like a thriller, kinda in a way, like you're trying to solve something. Um, so yeah, this is on my list. I'm probably thinking about streaming this one. This is coming out of Quantic Dream, which has produced a bunch of great games as well. And then the other game on the list that I wanted to highlight real quick was Somerville. This is a game that came out I think last year on the Xbox exclusive, timed exclusive. It was being made by the developers from like Inside and Limbo, and it kind of had like similar feel. And I really enjoyed the game. But it's great that it's finally coming to the PlayStation side of the realm here for the gaming. So I definitely highly recommend if you have a chance to go check it out. Different puzzles and stuff like that. It was a very beautiful game, great story, really fun mechanics and puzzle solving. Some touching moments since you're like a family trying to, and then you got separated, and you're trying to bring them back together and stuff like that. And then like the ending, you're just like mind blown by the ending. So definitely recommend going to check that out. But any last comments on any of the upcoming games, Scott?
No, honestly, really, it seems to be a pretty calm week.
Calm before the
Coming out
storm.
this, yeah, calm before the storm because we're coming into a fall of just hit after hit.
Yep.
It seems. So we will see. I know we got here coming up in September. We're gonna have our Starfield. We're gonna have a bunch of other things coming out.
Hmm.
So this definitely feels like a calm before the storm sort of deal.
For sure. But yeah, that's enough of the game releases, upcoming game releases. And actually, this week we actually do have some industry news here, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. So, of course, got to kick it off with an update in regards to the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal.
Finally,
This is yeah, finally. This is actually kind of big though because like when it first came out, it was just like, okay, they signed a deal with Ubisoft, and I thought it was like they're going to bring Activision Blizzard games to the Ubisoft Plus program, and it's a lot more than that actually. Microsoft has agreed to sell off the rights to the cloud gaming portion of Activision Blizzard to Ubisoft, so Ubisoft would be running the cloud service part of the game, which what the UK was worried about was a cloud service part. So if they sell it off to another company to manage it, they wouldn't have nothing to worry about. I threw in a bunch of different like quotes here. So it says quote from this one came from I forget who exactly said it, but Brad Smith. Sorry, it
Brad
says
Smith.
yeah
Yeah.
to address the concerns about the impact of the proposed acquisition on cloud gaming, streaming raised by the UK Competitive Market Authority. We have restructured the transaction to acquire a narrower set of rights. This includes executing an agreement effective at closing of our merger that transfers the cloud streaming rights for all current and no new Activision Blizzard PC console and game releases over the next 15 years to Ubisoft Entertainment SA, a leading global gaming publisher. The rights will be perpetuated. And then it says this restructured deal means that if Microsoft does close its proposed acquisition, that it will not be able to release Activision Blizzard games exclusively on the Xbox Cloud Gaming. So it would you wouldn't have to worry about the concerns of like of monopoly and stuff like that. It says Microsoft won't be able to exclusively control the licensing terms of Activision Blizzard games on rival services either. Instead, Ubisoft will control the streaming rights to the games outside of the EU and license titles back to Microsoft to be included in Xbox gaming. Then this is another quote here. Ubisoft will compensate Microsoft for cloud streaming rights to Activision Blizzard games through a one-off payment and through a market-based wholesale pricing mechanism, including an option that supports pricing based on usage. It would also give Ubisoft the opportunity to offer Activision Blizzard games to cloud gaming services running non-Windows operating systems. So that was a pretty big update here that they
Well,
just
what a
basically
mouthful.
yeah they
Dang.
offloaded a lot of basically the cloud gaming, which is what we thought was going to happen, and here it is. I was just surprised that they decided to go through Ubisoft, but I guess Ubisoft does
Yeah,
have the infrastructure to support this, and they'll be able to maintain it. But only
yeah,
time will
it's
tell.
definitely it's one of those things we kind of saw coming that they would offload the cloud gaming to make sure that that just little hook wasn't there for people to say no to. Uh, Yeah, very interesting that they went with Ubisoft. But if Ubisoft has the infrastructure, like you said, then I mean that'll be fine. It's just it's just weird. Where was it? It was Microsoft doesn't will not be able to release Activision Blizzard games exclusively on Xbox Cloud Gaming. Microsoft won't be able to exclusively control the licensing terms of Activision Blizzard games on rival services either.
Right,
So
which is
interesting
big.
to see.
Yeah, so basically that just
Yeah,
allows them, like, it goes into the PlayStation contract where they said, hey, if you want to bring Call of Duty to the PlayStation Plus, go for it. We'll,
yeah,
we'll, we'll make it happen. We'll allow that. So that just further pushes that agenda there. But that's the only update in regards to the Activision Blizzard. I think it's going to be pretty quiet until the CMA and they all meet and come up with a decision. They do have until October like 17th or something like that. So we still have a little while for that to go through. But moving on here to another company that's dealing with different issues, and this is a new program coming out of Epic Games. Developers will be able to keep 100% of the revenue in exchange for a 6-month exclusivity, and this is just in regards to like PC. So like using the Epic Game Store launcher, if you make your game exclusive to their launcher for 6 months, you'll be able to keep 100% of your revenue, which is an interesting take. But I guess it's to drive their launcher, get more people to use their launcher as opposed to Steam, I guess.
yeah. And originally they had let people have an 88% pay cut, which is still pretty large.
Mm-hmm.
But Epic Games got that 12% cut just for letting you ride off of their launcher. So interesting to see how many people are going to go off of the Epic Games launcher now that they're getting that extra 12%. To me personally, that doesn't seem like that would be enough um, to force me over to an Epic Games launcher if I had other avenues
Right, and the fact that it's
that
only six
weren't
months,
gonna
like,
fuck me over.
right, being upfront and letting you me know that it's a 6 months exclusivity. If I rather use Steam than the Epic Game Launcher, I can just wait 6 months to play the game then.
Yeah, yep. Or you can just take that 6 months, develop your game a little bit more. I mean, depending on deadlines and everything like that. But yeah. So it says the program's open now. The first products that'll be eligible to be a part of the program must launch on or act after October 16th.
Hmm.
So kind of interesting there, but I mean, good for them if they're going to be getting 100% of that cut. It's only for 6 months. I'm curious to see if there's going to be like, yeah, you'll get 6 months of 100%, but you have to stay with us for 2 years. And give it see if they hit that Comcast deal where it's like, yeah, you'll get this deal for 6 months, but
Yeah,
you got to stay with us for 24 months
yeah,
to really fulfill your contract. But still, it's nice to see developers getting 100% of their cut for something that they've worked really hard on, and all these guys are really doing is just giving them a launcher to go through and download and play it.
right. Yeah, we just want to know what like the payout for like Steam and the other launchers are. That'll be the big question. Like how
Yeah,
comparable, how competitive is it? Like for the developers for their payout. That's the only biggest concern there. But go
well,
ahead,
let's see
Scott,
if
if you
we
want
can
to
get a
move on
look.
here to our last two industry news here.
Steam payout for developers. Sorry, I'm still on that.
He's hooked on it to figure it out.
I'm hooked. Uh, How much does Steam pay developers? Blah blah blah. Developers that sell games at retail price of $10 or more split the profit of sales with Steam in a way that seems 75% of revenue going to developers and 30% of the revenue going to Steam. So they're already much better than Steam. They're 70% of your Steam is going to the developer, while 30% is actually going to Steam versus Epic Games, which was 88 and 12.
Yeah, it looks like
So
Steam has like
interesting to
it looks like Steam has a tiered system too. It says for
yeah.
games that sell between 10 and 50 million, developers will earn a revenue split at 25%. For every sale after 50 million, Steam will only take 20% from the game's overall earnings.
Oh, okay. So that's good to see they knocked it down after what 50
Yeah,
million,
after 50
20
million, you know.
million. Yeah. After 50 million, you'll get you'll get
Get
80%.
better,
That's
yeah.
fantastic. Good for them. Good for them. Really just keeping
Oh
an
yeah.
eye out for the developer. No, so
Uh,
it looks like Epic already really had the best
Right.
kind of the best deal going
It's just
around
nobody
anyway.
likes to use the Epic Game Launcher.
I know.
I
Maybe
hate using it.
that's probably yeah. So I'm not a fan of it, and maybe that's just kind of something there to design to make us just have to use it
Right, by
and
making
have to
games
have
exclusive for six
it
months.
till eventually we get Stockholm syndrome and we're like, you know what? The Epic launcher really isn't that bad, guys. It's really not that bad.
It's not that
Once you get past like the first like 10 or 15 issues, it's not that terrible, honestly.
bad.
But yeah, like you said, moving on to Nintendo, the original voice actor for Mario, Charles Martinet, has retired from doing the voice but will now be a Mario ambassador. I mean, the Mario voice has been it's been synonymous with there's it's hard to find words to see just how big he has like his voice has become for video gaming. Like it has become, you know, when you think video games, you think Nintendo. When you think Nintendo, you think Mario. When you think Mario, you think Charles Martinet.
Right.
Like
We
you
when we think
hear
of
the voice.
Mario, we don't think of Chris Pratt.
You do not think of Chris fucking Pratt. That is it. Um, However, when I think of Bowser, I will think of Jack Black.
I can't unhear
But
it now.
yeah, but yeah, so he's finally retired from doing the voice, which I mean, if he's signed any contracts that still allows Nintendo to use that voice, it doesn't matter anymore
Right.
because they have
That
everything
that is the
all
biggest
over
like
them. They
question
can just record.
that I've had with people like off stream and other chats. I was like, so like, what do they do with Mario's voice? Like, do they find a replacement? Do they do the whole like AI like generated voice where like they can just use your voice even though you're not doing the voice anymore? Like kind of like how
Which is
James
gonna
Earl
be
Jones
weird
does.
because any AI voice based off of Mario is gonna be based off of Charles Martinet.
Right.
So it's just a weird thing. I'm willing to bet. I haven't seen too much about it. I'm willing to bet there's probably some contract where they can use that voice, use that likeness, um, and keep using that for future Mario games. Because let's be honest, I think although he's been a great voice actor and he has been the voice of Mario and therefore Nintendo for the longest time, I mean he's probably said like maybe 50 words as Mario. Maybe that's a hard maybe.
Right. Definitely.
Uh, so yeah,
He's an interesting guy. So I've actually met him at Too Many Games. He's always there like almost every year, and he'll like do autographs and pictures and stuff like that. And he seems like a pretty cool guy. It's a very
and
iconic voice.
lady friend, I am always thinking of Chris Pratt. Maybe not so much. Maybe not as much as I am thinking about like say Ryan Reynolds. But I am always thinking of Chris Pratt. But when I think of Chris Pratt, I certainly don't go, "That's Mario."
So when you hear Pikachu, you think of Ryan Reynolds. Is that what it is?
Every time, god damn, every time.
Oh, that's great.
Or I think of Star Lord when I'm thinking of Chris Pratt or Parks and Rec. You know, I'm not thinking of it's me, Chris Pratt. Like, no, not at all.
Not at all. All
Like,
right.
all impersonations are done poorly, so
Yeah, of
they're just
course.
jokes.
So, all right, Scott. So enough of Nintendo. BioWare was also in the news this week with slightly unfortunate news.
They were. So I remember sharing this, and I was like, "No way did they
Hmm.
do this." So BioWare is actually laying off about 50 people, and who they're laying off? This also hits one of Dragon Age's best characters that a lot of people have come to love. Give me a second here.
Yeah. So while you're looking it up, yeah, I was just looking at it, and they were like talking about like 50 people. Apparently, like they do have the opportunity to get a different job within the company without like other than like their direct team with Dragon Age and stuff like that, or they'll help
Mhm.
relocate to other developers and stuff. So at least they're extending resources out to get a different job, whether it's with the company doing something else or to another company as well. They
Yeah,
just wanted to like narrow down the team because like some teams get to be too massive, and a lot of people gave the example of like what happened to 343. 343 just became so massive that they didn't have enough leadership to keep everybody on the same page, and then you got all these different books, all these different pages, where you just can't focus on the end goal together. And that's kind of what they were worried about here. Because think about BioWare, like they haven't been releasing a lot of good games recently. We were just talking about how bad Mass Effect Andromeda was. That was a pretty awful game, and they just got to refocus and come back to what made BioWare great.
I think when it comes down to the layoffs and wanting to kind of refocus, like I'm there for it 100%. I mean, I'm absolutely there. But when you start laying off the writer that we were previously mentioning, Mary Kirby, uh, when it comes down to like what they've offered the series that they've worked on, so Mary Kirby is actually the one who created Varric. Varric Tethris, who was a dwarf in the first and the second Dragon Age, so Dragon Age 2, served as the RPG's narrator. Um, People love that character, and like when you come down to loving a character and you love a specific character in a game, like it really comes down to the writer for that character. So watching her get laid off out of these 50 people, when knowing like some of the content that she had produced, Varric, uh, was so well received, kind of makes you go, that's a little weird. Like you have of all 50 people, like you still pick this one person to lay off, and like this, it's a little rough around the edges for me. Hopefully, when they restructure, obviously they better find a place for that writer. I mean,
Yeah.
giving everybody like people who I know people that love Dragon Age who love some of the writing that has been produced from it, and taking one of the writers, laying them off, and then not turning around and giving them something else or
Right.
giving them an option outside of it. Um, it's pretty dirty, but like you had said, there's other options outside of there, giving them a chance to refocus. So hopefully that has been offered and that will be taken if it won't take her right back into BioWare.
Right. Because I think BioWare is kind of like on the excuse me, they're on like thin ice right now. Obviously they got Mass Effect 4, whatever they decide to name that one, and then I also got Dragon Age, Dreadwolf, I think it is, in the works. Those are going to be two games that are going to make or break that developer, because I feel like, I think if I'm not mistaken, who the people who own BioWare, EA, right? Yes. They could just all they could just close up the studio altogether, and that would suck because BioWare's been around for a very, very long time. They've produced a lot of fantastic games. The Mass Effect trilogy that I've just recently played, all of the older Dragon Age
KOTOR.
games, KOTOR. They helped out with Baldur's Gate, like the original Baldur's Gate and stuff like that. So it's like it's sad. It's sad to see. Definitely sad to see. And then,
Yeah.
but like the other game I was trying to think of the other poor games that they recently made was Anthem. Game had all the hype in the
Man,
world, but it was like one of the biggest flops in gaming history.
fuck that. Anthem was amazing. But I will defend Anthem until the day I will die on this hill.
I have it
The
behind me.
the only issue I had with Anthem is that shit was too short.
Okay.
That's it. The story felt rushed. Other than that, it felt like if Exoprimal forced a first person story just so they could get you to the multiplayer, that is exactly how Anthem felt. Like if Exoprimal actually had a single player like area where you did just story, and they were like, okay, get that shit out so people can play together and fight dinosaurs. That's what the solo playthrough of Anthem felt like.
Yeah,
Other
I
than
played
that,
like the first like mission or two, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
fuck that. Anthem had everything. I loved it.
I might have to give it a second go.
Anthem was better Iron Man. It was a better Iron Man than any Iron Man video game could have been.
Yeah, so far.
Like so far.
Because we do got that Iron Man game in the works. So hopefully when that comes
Yeah,
out, we get
I
what we
will
deserve.
die. I will die on the Anthem Hill. 100%.
Great to hear. So that's all of the industry news that we got this week. Let's go ahead and move on to the gaming news because we definitely got a lot, especially once we get down to the Gamescom 2023 recap. Alright, right, so I'm gonna kick it off here with Xbox. This one is a pretty big one in the news because like it's something that a lot of games deal with as of lately, but this one was on like a whole nother scale. For Xbox, Starfield had a leaker that stole some of the games, some of the consolation editions that come with like the watch, all that other shebang stuff. And he was trying to sell these games, and on top of that, he leaked like 40 minutes of gameplay. And his name is Darian Harris, a 29-year-old. He's being charged with a felony charge of theft of property costing $25 to $100,000, a misdemeanor charge of theft of property of $1,000 or less, and also a misdemeanor charge of possession of marijuana. I love how they just tacked that on there at the end. Had nothing to do with what he actually did. He just happened to have weed on him. Okay, but
Was that in California? Because that $1,000 or less doesn't count.
I'm not exactly sure where that he ended up getting arrested at, but it's just sad to see that my man really just stole the stuff and then he tried to resell it, and then like he leaked the footage, and it's just like, why do it?
That's how you know somebody doesn't care about the game. Because if you're stealing all that shit, you best believe I'd be wearing the watch. I'd be having that shit on the shelf behind me.
Right.
Like, absurd.
Yeah.
Absurd. But so I do have my Skyrim Legendary Edition. I still have my tin case, and I still have my horned helmet beanie that you can pull over, and it's got the eyes cut out. So if anybody wants that, take your best bid between 25K to 100K, and it's yours.
It makes sense. Makes sense. So yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about that. It's just like sad to see that people really chase clout the way that they do to try and do this kind of stuff, not thinking about the repercussions that they were really going to have. And this is just the baseline of the charges that he could have. Like Microsoft could really pursue this man and charge him
they could fuck up everything. They could fuck up his whole life.
Yeah.
However, Marshmallow, half a nip and 10K, and it's yours. Yeah, they could absolutely bury this dude if they really wanted to. You're absolutely right, Marshmallow. If they wanted to, and they wanted to pursue this to like the fullest extent, they could absolutely bury him. IP theft. They could just
this guy's in for a lot because Microsoft I think has a pretty solid legal team. As we can see, they fucking just shut down the FTC basically. Like, yeah, you guys suck. You guys need to restructure the FTC apparently.
FTC can fuck off anyway, but but any of those three letter companies can piss off. But like, he's really actually kind of lucky he got those three, and that's why I was asking, like, maybe, and it was a joke about the 1,000 or less in California, but like depending on where he is, like a misdemeanor possession of marijuana, that's gone in the plea deal. Theft of property $1,000 or less. Trying to figure out how, if he had taken any sort of bundle or anything that was like kind of put together, if he had taken one piece, how they're gonna swing the 25K to 100K, and then turn around in the same charge, depending on what he had taken, hit him with $1,000 or less.
Yeah.
So really, depending, like you had said a watch. So if there's a watch.
We sold a bunch of copies of the game.
So. Yeah, like how many copies though? Like 25K worth of copies? I mean, even if we're charging $70 a pop, that's still quite a fucking bit.
My man went to Microsoft's warehouse.
My man walked out of there with one of those fucking at-home carts. If anybody's been to At Home, their carts are like 10 feet wide by like 18 foot long.
Yeah, he has a whole tractor trailer.
Yeah, you might as well just walk out of there with a 52-foot bed, like just haul that shit out. So really interesting to see if any plea deals come out of this, what they're really gonna tag as like the 25K or 100K. If he took a bunch of copies of games, like what are we calling a bunch? There's a bunch, like he walked out with like a bunch of finished, and I use that term lightly, a bunch of like finished games like in a pile, or did he like leave with like a truckload and then like take a commemorative watch?
He could have a digital, like he could have all the digital codes too.
But if that's the case, are they going to charge him per code?
Right.
Are they going to charge him per key? Like, is there a price per key? Is there a price per code? That's interesting to see. But like, even then, he's still lucky to just be getting that, because if he takes code, that's a whole fucking different set of worms.
Yeah.
That is a whole can of worms that I would personally open on him.
Yeah.
Like you take a CD, you take a game, you take something that I can sell somebody for 60, $70 a pop. That's one thing. You take the code, you take any sort of source code, you take anything like that. Absolutely not. Which
Yeah.
that's why I want to see how they're doing it. It doesn't seem like he did, because I feel like they would have already buried him. We would have never heard of him.
Well, this news just broke the other day,
Like,
so we'll see. We'll follow up on it and see what the outcome of that trial goes. But moving on to some games in regards to Xbox. Xbox indie game that's supposed to be coming out. It's an exclusive. Was delayed until 2024. They're still dealing with like delays and issues because they're the Ukraine war, the Ukraine and Russia war. So it's good to them that they finally delayed it to give them more time. It's just sad to see that they're still dealing with that. Next up here, one exciting one, Warhammer 40k Dark Tide got its official release date for the Series S and X, coming out on October 4th. I don't know why they picked that month, because that month is going to be literally the most jam-packed gaming month I have ever seen.
yeah, but if you're a die-hard 40k player and you have been waiting for this game, it doesn't matter what else is coming out.
Yeah, but you can just go play a PC if you're that hard of a, because it's been out for like a year on
They-
PC.
I mean, maybe all their PC money got tied up in
Could
actually
be.
playing 40k. That's
Could be.
not absurd to think. If you've ever seen any minis,
No, I've seen Roger's collection.
that shit's expensive.
But speaking along the lines of like these role playing games, Baldur's Gate 3 did get an update. It will be releasing on the Series S and X this year. Phil Spencer talked at Gamescom about this and said, "Hey, we got in touch with Larian. We basically kind of lifted the whole idea of the games have to release the same on both consoles, which we talked about last week. So split screen for the Series S will come at a later date. No confirmed date for that. No confirmed date for Baldur's Gate 3 for the console release anyway, but it is coming this year, and I'm glad that they were able to capitalize on that. Because if they waited until next year to finally get this, it might have missed the train. It might have missed the boat. Whatever phrase you want to use, it might have missed all the hype altogether.
Well,
if they waited.
and that is if split screen even comes at all. And we had spoken about this, like you had said last week. Their biggest thing was the split screen co-op just for the Series S, or was it the
Yeah,
yeah, it was the Series S.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we haven't really spoken about here so much, because we've only been talking about how well Baldur's Gate has been doing, but not necessarily why Baldur's Gate has been doing well. And that is their CEO owner Swen, who he's majority shareholder. It's his money, 100% in this game, which has given him and the studio the freedom to basically be like, we don't give a shit. We don't have shareholders to please. We don't have people to just make sure they're okay with something. We don't have any of that, which is part of also why Baldur's Gate has been releasing so well with like so much of this like content and what players and people like that want. Because that would be like if like Marshmallow or myself or you or Roger had just CEO powers over a game that we didn't have to worry about shareholders. Like, you would do your best to make sure that that's it's something you wanted. It's something like you wanted. Like, this dude showed up to like meetings in a suit of armor about this game, and he was like, you know what? I don't like that idea. We're not doing that shit. How about this? And that was it. That was 100% end all be all. And he had spoken with them. And he goes, yeah, like maybe. How about we just not worry about fucking split screen for a minute and just get this shit out? And they were like, yeah, you know what? That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I wish other games would take that kind of advice, because Activision Blizzard, with like Call of Duty, for instance, like they only do what the shareholders tell them. Oh, you guys need a game out every year, so we're gonna release a game every year because you guys need more money. It's not about the quality or anything like that. Oh, you guys need more
Well,
bundles. They're gonna do that because the shareholders want that more money. They're not worried about the
and
community no more.
it leans back a little bit more how we had spoken when Baldur's Gate first came out, and the rest of the community was like, this is not the new standard. this is not it. And we're all like, what the fuck do you mean? This is a complete game with everything we want. How is this not the new standard? But at the same time, like when you look back, like hindsight's always 2020, right? Like looking back at it, and you're like, okay, that makes a lot more sense that they were able to do these things, like because they don't. He doesn't give a shit about the shareholders because he is the shareholders. Him and his wife are the shareholders, so they don't have to worry about that. People like Activision, Blizzard, Ubisoft, Epic Games, like all of these other huge companies, like they do have to care about their shareholders. So really, when it comes down to things that they do, it's I'm not so upset with the company. It's more the shareholders and what they had said. Um, but I mean, it makes sense that they made so much money so far and they made such a great game so far because they don't have anybody that doesn't care about that shit
Right.
making decisions.
So moving on here to another game in regards to Xbox. This is another indie game that was just showcased at the Microsoft Gaming Showcase this year. Was Jasant. It's getting on its official release date. Guess what, guys? It's coming out in October, October 31st, 2023. It's day one on Game Pass. This one does look pretty cool. I'll probably give it a go. It'll probably be like one of my small game streams, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's just probably will get pushed back for a while. Probably won't get to it until like December, at least, at least December. But outside of that, Xbox did wasn't a news this week for hardware things. They announced console wraps, which are pretty cool, which I'm gonna get up here on the screen. I'm thinking about picking one up. Basically, this like kind of helps like eliminate the whole need for like exclusive consoles, like limited edition consoles. Like if you already have a console, like why am I gonna go buy the limited edition console? And this kind of allows you to do it. Like this one here that I'm showing the trailer for. This is the Starfield wrap, and it's not like it's a sticker. This is a thing that actually just literally wraps around your console and looks like it maybe magnetically attaches in the back, um, and it just works.
I think if it's magnetically, that would be really, really cool because you can kind of just pick and choose and like
Swap
up
out
and off
whenever.
depending on how you do. Like, I've always been a big fan of like edition consoles,
Hmm.
like the Halo 3 edition Xbox,
Right.
like all like they're the Halo 1 or 2 edition Xbox, and then like you had your Halo 3 edition Xbox or yeah, Xbox 360.
Hmm.
Like you had like all these like I've always been a big fan of that because like those bundles are just super fun, like pretty nostalgic when it comes down to it. But those wraps, I mean, chef's kiss. Honestly, you can get a wrap that you want. You can you find something better. You like that. You wanna show off Diablo 4 while you're playing Diablo 4. Well, guess what? They
Yeah.
didn't give you a fucking bundle. Here's your wrap.
Right. Right, and it makes sense. Like this is, if you think about it, the 360 days, like yeah, they had the special edition consoles, but they also sold those the faceplates that you could trade out on your 360, and that was pretty cool. And this is kind of like just the modern version of it, and you can kind of swap out. Like right now, they only have the Starfield one, and then these two camouflage ones up for pre-order, and they're about $50 for the Starfield one, and then I think these ones are 45, so it's $5 cheaper. I just hope that they add like the rest of them, like because like those two camouflages matches the two camouflage controllers. I hope they do ones that like match like this controller and all the other controllers that I have, and that'd be pretty cool to swap out, or even do just other ones for other games. All of their first party games coming out for after this should have a matching cover now.
Or give you like a bundle that has like a faceplate to go with it for your controller, like things like that. Like
Hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah,
You could do so much with this as far as wraps are concerned. I'm surprised this hasn't come out earlier,
yeah,
to be honest. Like I could get on Amazon and look up like just a random like wrapped case for my phone, and they'll give me hundreds of options. I'm surprised this hasn't been a thing beforehand where like some like third party company was just making wraps for these. I'm sure it probably you could probably look on Etsy and find them. So I'm glad to see that that's a little bit coming like more mainstream, and I hope that they come out with a lot more options for people that have a bunch of different tastes.
right. And honestly, they already do it with like with the controllers. They can do a design labs for wraps. I think they could do that. And there was one idea I was listening to on a podcast. They were like, why don't they just like ship like a blank one, whether it's like white or whatever, and allow you to put whatever art you want on it. Like you can draw on it, you can paint on it, stuff like that. That'd
Yeah,
be pretty
yeah,
awesome.
like a canvas wrap or something
Hmm.
like that. That would be super cool.
Right.
That would be
Or
super
if you do
cool
like
to
the
do.
design wrap, like you can put like different photos like your family and stuff on it, and it turns it into your
Yeah,
game console is also now a fucking picture frame basically.
yeah, yep, absolutely.
Like
Like
that would be pretty dope.
something that your kid made in school, and you got like a little 8x10 slot that you can throw it in. Like, why not? I mean,
Right. The
when it comes to
possibilities
these
with this is
wraps,
endless.
like, yeah, the skies are truly the limit.
Right. So moving on here to the next console, we got to start rapid firing through. It's almost 8 o'clock, but we got a ton of fucking news to get to. Next up is the PlayStation update. Normally, obviously, we got Roger covering this, but I'll cover it this week. Just in regards to their hardware, Project Q, which was their handheld device that was announced a couple weeks back. It got its official name. It's called the PlayStation Portal. Um, and it's just got some interesting like highlights because they kind of were just talking about like the specs of it. It is a 8-inch LCD display, 1080p, only 60 hertz. It has a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, so if you want to plug some headphones in, if you still use wired headphones on the go, I don't know why. But the biggest kicker here is the fact that it doesn't support any form of Bluetooth. So like any Bluetooth headset just does not work with this. So it only uses a proprietary like PlayStation connection called PlayStation Link, and only headsets that have it are their new earbuds that they announced and their new headset they announced. And those are both a $200 headset or a $200 earpods or whatever, and then the headset is actually a little bit cheaper, like 150. So like that was pretty like anti-consumer like all the way through, and I was just like, this was a really bad PR stunt. Like the device, the PlayStation Portal is going to be a $200 device, and if you want headsets or headphones to go with it, you also got to shell out like another $200. And I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense why they did this. Like Microsoft used to be made fun of because they had their little adapter look like a USB drive. I actually have mine plugged in now, um, because it uses a proprietary connection, but it allows you to also connect to Bluetooth as well. But it's like, why did they drop the ball here with no Bluetooth? What's your thoughts on this, Scott?
Money. Money is the only reason that they would do this without a Bluetooth. I mean, honestly, we've seen a lot of companies like forego headphones, forego audio jacks, like Samsung, Apple, everything like that. But they've still kept the Bluetooth to give users like an option on what they want to use around or in their fucking dome pieces. And PlayStation said, "Nah, we don't want to do that. Here's our proprietary shit. You've got to use this." Because they want fucking money. Like
Yeah,
that's it. Like this, a $200 price tag, cool. Like it did. Just fucking give us the PSP again already. At that point,
I
like,
wish. But
oh my god, I
like
wish
that.
I wish the PSP,
Like,
but still, like this is just like, hey, here's your kind of little portable shit.
yeah, but the thing is, like,
Uh,
the issues
like,
with this here is the fact that you have to own a PS5
yeah,
to be able to play this because it streams your PS5 to this handheld device.
it's
It's
their answer to the Steam Deck. It's their answer to the ROG Ally,
but
and
it's not it's
you know,
not an answer to the Steam Deck because that plays it locally. You don't have to have a PC. You don't have to have another rig. It doesn't connect to another rig. It plays the game on the device. That's
well,
the
the
biggest
answer
kicker.
might not have been the right word for
Yeah,
it,
yeah, like that would be the
but
closest thing to it. But it's just I
they
just don't see
saw
it.
it, capitalized, and said, "How can we make more money?"
Yeah, greedy bastards.
Like, yeah, what can we do to give people this? Think they're getting a new experience, but realistically, they're porting things they've already bought and paid for, and they have to spend us more. They have to spend more money if they want it. Can't use their own headset that they like. Couldn't use these
Right.
if we wanted.
This seems like a loss overall again for PlayStation. I hate to say it.
Give it give it 2 months. We'll be talking about how this is done so terribly in sales
Just like the
that it's
PSVR 2.
fucking dead. Just like the VR2. It's give it. I would say 2 months, and that's being really generous because the holiday season's coming up. Um, that'll be about it, honey. Um, but moving on. So we have Nintendo. we had talked about this a while back, but they had actually introduced anti-piracy software de novo, and that is now available on the Nintendo Switch. Um, what had been going on with de novo? It is the first tool that's actually rolled out for a Nintendo Switch emulator, because that emulation has been huge over the past 3 months, 4 months. Anybody who used to emulate beforehand, congratulations. We're all not special. We all suck. But now it's super, super special. But the first rule that rolled out is the Nintendo Switch Emulation Protection, which protects games launching on Nintendo's hybrid console from piracy. And this is a direct quote from a press release was, even if a game is protected against piracy on its PC version, the version released on Nintendo Switch can be emulated from day one and played on PC, which we are all aware can be done. Therefore, bypassing the strong protections offered on the PC version, the press release also reads that this can happen with any of the numerous games available on Nintendo Switch. So, de novo is there to make sure that you all can't do that anymore. You guys can't do that anymore. Because, not me over here. At all.
This guy.
Never.
Yeah. I mean, I personally like to see that they're implementing some anti-pirating software because pirating is pirating, but we also talked about the issues with older games not readily available to the consumer without it being 70, 100, 150, $200 per game.
Exactly.
So
It's
until they figure that part out, people are always going to emulate games.
actually hilariously enough, quick side story. I know we're at 8:01 right now, but I went through the basement this weekend. I had a box with a perfectly preserved Xbox 360 power supply, cable, controller, about 30 games, maybe, give or take, maybe 15, 20. I don't know. I didn't really get a look at it because I packed it like 10 years ago. And then a spare controller. And I was looking online and like refurbished 360s are like 127 to 150 to like $200 right now. This one turned on. It's not even refurbished. It's original. It's like it's not an elite. It's nothing like that. And like the price that people are willing to pay now for some of this stuff is ridiculous. Like emulation is the only answer. Because if you want to go out and if I wanted to go play like the original Fable on a 360, thank God I have one in the basement. Because if I didn't, and I had to emulate that, or thank God I have a Super Nintendo Classic in the basement, because if I wanted to play any of those games, I'm paying $300 for Ocarina of Time. I'm paying $400 for the gold cartridge Legend of Zelda for the original NES. Emulation is the only answer.
Yeah,
I feel like this is just a way to create that little stop loss there that they just, nope, no emulation. Here's the nouveau. Like you are all gonna get absolutely crushed for emulation.
At least one positive thing though is the fact that Nintendo has been working on adding more games to their backwards compatibility list, so you don't have to worry about emulating. You don't have to worry about spending, sacrificing your kidney and the right side of your brain to buy a game. Like they're really adding games to their software or their subscription service. So at least they have that going for them. It's not like PlayStation where it's just like, if you want to play a PS1 game, good luck.
Go fuck yourself. Yeah.
Like I'm trying to buy games for the PS2 and it's like damn near impossible. Like because
that rant was more of like industry as a whole, but I know you're feeling that if you want to play anything that came out native to the PS2.
Yeah, it's impossible. Like every good game that came out during the time is going to be fucking like $100 more.
Metal Gear Solid, good fucking luck.
Right. Like when I picked up Jade Cocoon 2, that shit was like $50. Like even that was kind of steep for that game. Like it shouldn't be worth
Parasite Eve, $80-$90.
Yeah, it's just mind blowing. But
it's ridiculous.
Well, let's move along here.
But thank God they put a stop to that.
Right. So actually, Scott, I'm gonna skip my topic real quick because this kind of just rolls into it. If you want to talk about Atari real quick.
Dude, this is ridiculous. So we're in 2023 and we are now getting a new Atari console. New. But I feel like it's weird. I feel like I'm covering history here. Because like this is, aside from the Commodore, like this is the one that started it all.
Mhm.
And to see them make a jump into 2023, like 50 years later, 60 years later, 70 years later, maybe even, depending. I'd have to look back at the actual timestamps on that. But yeah, so they're coming out with the Atari 2600 Plus. Ridiculous. It's gonna be,
1977.
yeah, it's 77. Okay, so we're at 70, 80, 90, 0, 1, 2, 50, almost 50 years.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a modern day recreation of the classic. It's gonna come with a 10-in-1 game cartridge, and a one CX40 Plus joystick controller, um, just like it came with. And some of the games we're looking at: Adventure, Combat, Dodge 'em, Haunted House, Maze Craze, Missile Command, Real Sports Volleyball, Surround, Video Pinball, and Yar's Revenge. This is going to come out with a price tag of $130. Still waiting to see if that's going to be worth it.
Right.
Just for the nostalgia factor, but still, I mean, fuck, we're close. This is gonna be backwards compatible with hundreds. This is where your price tag gets your dollars worth. It's gonna be backwards compatible with original Atari 2600 and 7800 games. That is big,
Yeah, it's big.
huge.
It's just this
Big
is
league.
like a different approach
Like,
to, like, remember when they released the Nintendo
it's
Classic, you were just talking about, like, but those consoles came with like 50 to 100 games already baked into it, but it wasn't
yeah.
backwards compatible. You couldn't go buy out the original cartridges and put them into that
Yeah,
system.
and what I actually had to fix that was a retro duo that I had gotten for
Hmm.
Christmas from a buddy of mine, which came. It has the original, like, the big cartridges for the NES. It fits those. It fits the SNES cartridges. I can play all of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, this is. I'm happy for this, even if I don't buy it, because this is just like this. This has me giddy, almost.
Yeah, this was my
Like,
first console that I remember playing as a kid, honestly.
exactly,
My
and like
grandparents had this console and I played it.
yes, and there's still an original one in my grandmother's house in the attic,
Mm.
in the box.
Oh,
Not awesome and new and
oh,
like
yeah.
shiny.
It might be
Like,
worth some
obviously
money
it
though
was used because
to
we
those
fucking played
collectors.
some video games. But like, damn, like, dude, this is for $130. Like, $130 for kind of the same idea of an NES Classic or something like that. A little high, but when you realize that this can play the Atari 2600 and 7800 games, you can't really put a price on that at that
Right.
point, just because like you could have 2600 to 7800 games from 77, 80, like 80 and beyond, until they were done with it, and be able to play those games. So like, even if this 10-in-1 doesn't work for you and you don't want those games, you can buy a brand new Atari for less than, like, it's pennies on the dollar, and then play your original games that you still have.
Right, and which is nice with this new Atari that it has like the HDMI support, so you don't have to buy no extra adapters or anything like that. What I had to do with the PS2 here, because like with the PS2, I had to buy this adapter here. I don't know, like anybody can really see it, but it plugs into the back of the PS2 and then it allows the HDMI connection at the other end of
Yeah,
it.
it looks like a Fire Stick.
Right, it looks like, yeah,
But
basically a
like,
Fire Stick, and then it has its own power supply to the side of it. It's mind
yeah,
blowing.
but like, to get an Atari 2600 with HDMI built in, not having to turn to channel 3. Like,
Man, you are
if anybody
unlocking some
remembers,
memories.
everyone knows channel 3 is the best channel. But like, dude, I mean, the more I talk about it, the more excited I get, and the more I'm like, I'm gonna have a fucking Atari. Like,
That's
just
gonna be the
because,
centerpiece
like,
of the house. I have an Atari
well,
2600
I mean,
plus.
yeah, it'd be crazy not to get it. That would be the centerpiece. That would sit right on the dinner table, Vic. Right on the dinner table.
I'm for it. I'm for it.
100%.
But we do got to move on here because, man, we still got to get to the Gamescom 2023, and that's going to be like an hour long special. So I'm gonna run through Samsung here. Samsung is bringing their gaming streaming to their 2020 models. They already announced it for like all the 21 and 20 up, whatever, 2021 and newer. But they didn't say which models specifically are for 2020. But either way, that's awesome. More TVs are going to be able to play games, including Xbox, because Xbox signed that deal where a lot of their games are going to be coming to the Samsung. So I'm really looking forward to that. I don't have a Samsung TV anymore, but it's awesome to see that people who do will be able to experience it. But Scott, if you want to talk about AMD real quick.
Yeah, so what they did is they revealed a long-awaited, and this was long-awaited. This was an FSR 3 tech and frame gen for every DX11 and DX12 game. Anybody who has AMD, anybody who uses DirectX 11, DirectX 12s, um, it's been a long time coming. It has been.
Yeah.
It has been. So super excited to see how this rolls out, how this plays in, and how we as the players can use this to moving forward. I
Yeah,
mean, honestly,
because you're an AMD guy, you have the
yes,
AMD graphics card. I don't. I have the new NVIDIA
yeah,
3060, so I'm not going to benefit from this. I don't think at all in any way, shape, or form.
yeah,
But it is definitely awesome to see. But I gave this next topic here to you because I know that you probably enjoyed this game from back in the day. I know you're looking forward to
absolutely,
it.
absolutely. So once again, I feel like I'm just like I'm getting like so much of the good news tonight because Star Wars Dark Forces has a remaster announced for PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. This is going to be from Night Dive Studio. They've recently released remasters of like System Shock and Quake 2.
Which Quake 2
Uh,
just dropped like a week or two
yeah,
ago into Game Pass as well.
and yeah,
And
it
on
dropped
top of
into
that, they also
Pass
released
in
new
2011.
content for Quake 2. Like, not only did they remaster Quake 2, they also created new content for Quake 2 as well, which is fucking dope. What?
Exactly. I'm hoping to see that they. I'm hoping to see if they do that for Dark Forces.
Yeah,
Dark Forces was like kind of like it was a little bit more niche, uh, in your Star Wars games, but like coming into remaster, coming out of like they just dropped with the Quake 2, I would say DLC, but the Quake 2 editions, and then coming into Star Wars Dark Forces, I am absolutely excited to see what they can do with this, how they can make it look, and if possible, what they can come out with it.
yeah, for sure.
What they can come out with, what they
Right,
can come out with, what they can come out with for it.
for sure. Moving on here though, Valorant was in the news this week, and they officially revealed the new map known as Sunset. This was revealed at the gaming championship, the Valorant champions at the grand final. So that was pretty awesome. And let me see if I can get it up here on screen. While I just got it up here to load. Valorant Sunset slideshow here, so it looks pretty nice. I'm just curious to see how it plays out, like any other map. I hope it's not like another terrible map that we've been getting. Honestly, a lot of the new maps have been kind of lackluster. I do like the vibrancy, the different color palette of it. Has a nice mix, nice tone. It's obviously you see the sunset that's going on here. So only time will tell. We'll see if this map is any good, for sure. But really looking forward to that getting into the mix of our comp playlist, for sure. But moving on, Ghost Runner 2 was in the news. It was funny because like they kind of ran with the leaks, like all of the leaks coming out with their release date, and they were like, this is a quote from them. It says, "Despite our best ninja skills, we couldn't stop the news leaks of Ghost Runner 2. It will launch on October 26, 2023 for PS5, Xbox Series S and X, Epic Game Store, GOG, and Steam." And again, this is another October release for another fucking potentially great game, and I'm just like, bro, how do we have any time to play any games in October when they just keep adding more and more games to October? Crazy to see. But without further ado, if you want to talk about Certain Affinity, usually I would cover Certain Affinity, but I'll let you have it this week.
Yeah, so after years of assisting with games like Halo, and a couple others, they're actually working on a new original FPS known as Project Loro. Not too much that I've seen personally has come out about it. But a lot of the developers, they've been tweeting, they've been talking about it at Gamescom. They've been like, "Hey, after Gamescom panels, we've been doing this," or like, "Hey, after 2 full days behind a closed door at Gamescom, we're talking about Project Loro." So excite slash clap. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm curious because like these guys have laid a lot of hands on a lot of projects, and
Right.
I'm curious to see how their own FPS comes out of this.
For sure, because obviously they still have
Yeah,
Project Tatanka is still in the works, which is like a new
yes.
Halo project with 343. So we still have that to worry about, and then Project Loro. So we'll definitely see how that goes. And next up, Roger actually threw this in here. I'll just cover it real quick because I'm gonna get the trailer up for it. The Invincible did get a date revealed via a trailer, so I'm gonna get that running. I don't know too much about this. I know he seemed really excited, so I wanted to make sure I included it in our show here, because I don't really know much about the Invincible. What about you, Scott? You got anything?
I don't have much when it comes down to it. I started looking a little bit once I saw that this was coming out, and I still haven't gotten too deep into the Invincible. But I'm sure that once we see like release dates, once we see more come out of it, well, I'll have a little bit better of an answer for that.
Right. This trailer looks really good. It seems very like sci-fi, almost like Atomic Heart that I recently played through. Maybe like a mixture of like Starfield kinda, or like any of the space exploration games. Just don't know how to really what like to really make of it honestly. And let's see, I'm just trying to skip through the because I know they put out a release. Yeah, so November. It's a November game, November 6th. So right around the corner, and it's going to be competing with fucking Call of Duty at that point because the Call of Duty's coming out on November 10th. So October, November. It's like September, October, November is like on lock when it comes to video games.
I mean, damn, that trailer looks really good. I'm looking at a different trailer than you are right now. I'm looking at the trailer that's currently on Steam. But I mean, it looks fucking awesome. And coming off of the description, like rethink humans' dominion in the Invincible, a story-driven adventure set in a hard sci-fi world by Stanislaw Lem. Discover planet Regis 3 as scientist Yasna and use Atom Punk tools looking for a missing crew and face unforeseen threats. Make choices in a philosophical story that's driven by science. So it looks like it's gonna be pretty like choice driven. Um, we've seen that quite a bit recently, but it looks like this is gonna be like first like at the forefront of this game is gonna be the choices you make. And I'm still watching the trailer here and like man, it just really does look it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
As far as if that's just cinematics and stuff like that, unseen yet, but looks to be really, really interesting.
time will tell. Last gaming news here before we talk about the Gamescom 2023 recap. The Walking Dead Destinies was announced for PC and console, and I'm low-key excited for this one because one, I was a huge Walking Dead fan. I kind of fell off like towards the end of the seasons here, but this game covers seasons 1 through 4 of the show, and basically you can like have an alternative like reality of the show. So like when Rick had to kill Shane in the early seasons, like it could actually be reversed. Like Shane could actually kill Rick, and then Shane's the main character now of the story. Like different decisions like that could happen throughout the show, and like you'll be able to make you'll be able to make these decisions happen. So I'm curious to see how that will play out. So the premise of this has me excited. So we'll definitely see if turns out to be a good game or not. But let's move on to the massive part of our episode because we're talking about Gamescom 2023. It was a massive show. It was about 2 hours long, and just before we talked about like what was announced, it was interrupted again, like Jeff Keighley's show from a couple years last year, the Game Awards or something like
It was
that.
last year.
Like the whole guy that came up stores and talking about like Nazis and shit like that. It was really weird.
Oh, that little like 15-year-old
Yeah,
talking about Clinton.
yeah, it was really weird. It was kind of similar thing. He just kind of two guys hopped up on stage and tried to talk into his microphone and stuff like that. It was security came up and removed him. So sad to see that big events like that get ruined by assholes like them. Um, so without further ado, though, let's talk about the topics because, dude, this list is long as fuck. So we'll kind of stop on a couple of these to talk about, but some of them we'll kind of breeze on by. The show did kick off with Starfield, which was really awesome to see. Xbox had a big presence at the show from a couple of different ads for their Game Pass, whether it's PC Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass. But they also like shadow dropped some games and stuff, which I'll talk about here in a second. But yeah, Starfield got the Todd Howard came out on stage and was talking about the game. They debuted like a live action like trailer to showcase like the story of the game. So really looking forward to that. Zack Snyder also did come out on stage to talk about his upcoming movie known as Rebel Moon, and this is basically like a Star Wars inspired story, and it looks really good. But he also was trying to talk a little bit about the game that is also in the works. So this one had me super pumped. So if you haven't checked out the trailer for Rebel Moon, go check it out now on YouTube. Call of Duty made its appearance here, where they did showcase the first gameplay footage of Modern Warfare 3. You got to see like the return of like the Gulag, like that prison and stuff like that. Where the heck is big sexy Roger did not make it, and it's just us two, man, the ugly guys here. But yeah.
Wow. Wow, Paul. You're gonna say big sexy and I'm right here.
um, but yeah, Modern Warfare 3 gameplay. I still can't get a feel for the game. I'm sure the campaign will be phenomenal. It's just how multiplayer will play out. Really looking forward to the Modern Warfare 3 campaign though. Alan Wake 2 was there with a new trailer showcasing the blend of like the game is actually going to feature like a blend of live action and like in-game like graphics like CGI and stuff like that. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how that all works out. It almost seems like it's gonna be like very control, where like the you don't know what the fuck is going on. Obviously, it's set in the same universe. So I know Paul is really excited for that one as well. Big announcement here though is Diablo 4 Season 2 was announced. We're not even halfway through Season 1, and Season 2 was already announced and showcased. So go check out the trailer for that. Mortal Kombat 1 did reveal two new fighters, and I haven't played a fighter game in such a long time, and I was trying to make the decision of do I want to play Street Fighter, do I want to play Mortal Kombat, do I want to play Tekken? I think
You want to play Mortal Kombat?
I think Mortal Kombat 1 is going to be the game that I pick up as my fighting game, because it just I can't get over like the brutalities and the finishers and stuff like that. Like that is it. Like this game looks amazing. Tekken 8, speaking of them, did get its official release date for January 26, 2024. So that's good that they waited a little bit and get out of this year, because this year is jam packed for the rest of the time. Why don't y'all throw the inhuman bad signal? I would have sung through. My bad, bro. I definitely haven't hit anybody up about coming on the show, but maybe we'll get you on next week for sure. Um, Assassin's Creed Mirage was there. They did their trailer showcased the 9th century Baghdad and like how like they just more like lore, more city like world building and stuff. Sonic was there for two different reasons. Superstars gets its official release date October 17th, 2023. Another game adding to the massive release dates of October. But Sonic Frontiers also got a new update coming out called The Final Horizon. And it's coming later this year, so maybe November, December timeframe would be my guess. Quantum Dream or Quantic Dream was there, and they announced a new game called Dustborn, which looks really fucking good. It'll probably be a game that I do pick up. And then next up, we got Thank Goodness You're Here, is a new game by studio behind the Untitled Goose Game. So who knows what the hell we're going to get from there. Next up, Little Nightmares 3 did get announced here at the show. Scott, did you play either the previous Little Nightmare games at all?
I did not. I didn't play any of the Little Nightmare games actually.
Yeah, I started the first one, I stopped, so I haven't played obviously didn't play two, so I might want to continue my playthrough of two, or the first one, and get through two before we get Little Nightmares 3. Um, Big highlight of the show here was Black Myth Wukong. A new trailer showcased like more of the story, more of the gameplay and stuff like that, and this game had a lot of anticipation. It's like an indie developed game, but it looks like a AAA game, so definitely be hyped for that. Any Marvel Snap fans, guess what? You no longer have to play on the proper pooper if you want to sit on the PC now and play. It is available now on Steam. Then we got Warhaven gets its official release date for September 21st, 2023. So that's right around the corner in less than a month here. And then we got Grand Blue Fantasy Relink got its also official release date February 1st of 2024. So another game early next year. Nightingale trailer revealed that its early access got delayed to February 22nd of 2024. This game, I know Roger. I was hoping that Roger's gonna be on the show to talk about this game, because I know he's really looking forward to it. It's another survival game, but it has like this thing where you can go through different portals that take you to different like worlds and stuff like that. So really cool there. Expeditions, a Mud Runner game, was revealed. This is just like, as it says, another Mud Runner game, and it seemed pretty cool. Just not a game that I would check it out. But yeah, Scott, I'm gonna pass off the back half here of these games, as this list is like never ending.
Yeah, so coming up on the back half of these like 40 plus, we've had a Stormgate update coming out of Gamescom. After that, we got a Crimson Desert trailer, which was showing off some new mechanics for the game. After that, we had a Bulletstorm VR announced, and that was releasing December 14th, 2023. So that will be the VR game coming out of there.
Which
And then after,
Bulletstorm was a really great game for the
yeah,
360, I think it was. So I'm glad to see that this game is still getting like love. I'm just like, man, can we? Because they like remastered it for last gen, and then now they're bringing it to the VR. And I'm like, man, can we get a Bulletstorm 2? Like, where is Bulletstorm 2 at, man? Like
right here,
that's what I want.
they're Bulletstorm 2.5.
Right.
Uh, and and then so after the Bulletstorm, we have one that I'm really excited for. We have Age of Empires 4 console edition getting that got shadow dropped there, just kind of
Yeah, they were just like, hey, it's available now. Go play it.
like
I was like, oh
yeah.
shit,
After that, Killing Floor 3 got announced,
which looked
and then of
fucking
course
insane.
it did look fucking absolutely great. And then of course after that we had everyone's favorite Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. That was a launch trailer, which we that launched Friday, so we were already kind of expecting that one. We have the last Epoch trailer, Rune Master, so we had a first look on that. After this, we had the Crew Motorfest gameplay trailer. Reels, you can actually play the game for free the first few days.
Which was a
So if
really
you wanna,
interesting take that
yeah,
they decided to do something like that. And the crew has always
it's
been a good game. Um,
yeah,
and this seems like it's almost like they're trying to copy Forza Horizon with the festivals and stuff like that. So I actually might give this a go. That the fact that they're giving it away for free for the first couple of days, why not?
which yeah, like I definitely like. It's a good. That's a good kind of model to follow. Um, just hey, here's a few days you can play. If you like it, cool. If you don't, excellent. Like, just go off and do that stuff. Like, given that like what 3-4 days I think they said
Hmm.
was, I mean, gonna be good for them because if people like that, then they're gonna keep playing it. They're gonna want to buy it. Like,
Right.
it's
It's
kind
kind
of
of like a
your
demo.
little culture there. Yeah, yeah. And then so after that we had Fort Solis that had a launch trailer. Lord of the Fallen extended story trailer came out.
Which looks dope.
Uh,
A game that's
everyone's
coming out in
favorite
October.
everyone's favorite ad, Genshin Impact, concert reveal. Honkai Star Rail official PS5 trailer came out. So that was another one that came out for them. Uh, Zenless Zone Zero trailer that we saw. After that, we saw a trailer for Payday 3.
And it featured the
And it
man
featured
Ice
Ice
T,
T.
because he was like, I know a little bit about heist, and I was like, oh, this guy.
Yeah, so that was really fun. Seeing Ice T just really honestly, we can talk about this at another time, but Ice T just does like the craziest shit
He's like Snoop Dogg.
sometimes. He just does random shit. He's in like a metal band, like it's ridiculous. We had a gameplay trailer released for Delta Force. We had a story trailer released for Homeworld 3. We had a gameplay trailer again released for Mandragora. And then we had Warhammer Age of Sigmar Realms of Ruin got a release date trailer. And then rounding out the 39 things that dropped at Gamescom. Aura History Untold, we got a story trailer for that.
Which actually looks
And
pretty good. I know Roger's looking forward to that game. It's like a
yes.
kind of like a civilization game, but like you do like alternative history and stuff like that.
Yes. So you can. It's gonna be your kind of like your Civ game. However, depending on what you do, your actions, or depending on how you do the story, it will come out with different results that actually count as history
Yeah.
within the game.
Yeah.
So super interesting to see that one.
Yeah. So
But that does
Gamescom
wrap
was
up the
insane.
39 people, the 39 massive things we've seen at Gamescom.
Yeah, I would say that the show was pretty solid. There were just some points of the show where I was just like, I was getting bored. It didn't keep me entertained the whole time either. So it's just like, They had some highs, they had some lows, so wasn't the best show that Jeff Keighley has ever put together, but there's a little bit of everything there for everybody. But that's all the gaming news that we had this week. We do got a couple of leaks and rumors for you guys, so let's go ahead and check those out. So I'll kick it off here with no Xbox news, but PlayStation had a leak because Keanu Reeves might potentially be in the upcoming PlayStation exclusive Death Stranding 2 due to a recent photo that was released from Hideo Kojima, where it showed Keanu Reeves was with Norman Reedus, which is the main character of Death Stranding. So it's like, I can only imagine like having those two big stars in a game. Like that would literally drive people to come on and check out the Walking Sim 2. You know. So Scott, if you want to end our leaks and rumors here with the last one here.
Yeah, so we already knew that Elden Ring was gonna be getting a DLC that was fully confirmed. But what we're looking at here is some lore bit clarification, and some of the reveals are being saved for future games. So does that mean Elden Ring 2? Like, what does that mean? Another DLC?
Right.
So we're kind of looking to see exactly what's going on, but that's basically being confirmed by Miyazaki that some of that clarification, some of that those points connecting are definitely there, but saved for what I would say is future releases.
Yeah, I think we're definitely getting an Elden Ring 2 or whatever they decided to call it. So
Elden Ring 2, Electric Boogaloo. Who knows? But
yeah.
this all comes with Shadow of the Erd Tree when that came out. Like that's coming out. But however they're doing that and the lore there, there's still going to be a lot of questions unanswered, which will eventually get answered.
Right, and Shadow of Erdtree, that's coming out what next year?
Yeah, it should be next year.
Yeah. So only time will tell. We got a little ways to go on that, but that is all of our leaks and rumors here. So we do want to close out this episode by thanking everyone who did check us out live today here on Twitch, and anyone who does check us out later on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. But Scott, where can the community find you at?
As always, you can find me on twitch.tv/Scooby1. I don't have a streaming schedule, but I stream here and there. If you want to go ahead and get with me and see what I am playing on Discord, my name is Scooby1. If you want to join me on any of my games, my BattleNet is Scooby1. My numbers are 11780. And if you just want to see kind of what I'm up to, hit me in my DMs or just kind of see how I'm living my life, you can find me on Instagram at Scooby1.
And of course, everyone, you can check me at Twitter, or if you want to call it X, at Mr. Never Chillin_. Threads is Mr. Never Chillin. Xbox is X Never Space Chillin. If you want a game party up, hit me up there. Facebook is Vic Brubacher for any questions, concerns, or if you want to come on the show, slide in the DMs there. And I stream over on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin, where I'm streaming right now Stray as my small game. I do got to figure out what my next big game is, whether I want to wait until I just start Starfield, because that's right around the corner. Early access begins on the 1st, but I'm probably going to wait until it comes out officially on the 6th. So that'll probably be my next big game that I do stream. But join us in the After Show channel in our Discord here if you want to continue the conversation. But we want to thank everyone again, and until next time, peace.
Press Start Podcast.